Crypto, please hit that like, that subscribe button, bell notification. Hey, super chats are open. All right. Thank you for joining us on this bear market Friday morning. Excuse me. Been a while. Okay. So the question is, where might Bitcoin bottom out? And do you DCA into alt? So, Mr. FOMO, you DCA'd into Bitcoin. Why don't you tell the viewers your philosophy DCAing this week?
Well, it was pretty simple. It's not a complicated process. I looked at 126 and I said, what's about half of 126? And that was 63. So I decided that I was going to start buying back in when Bitcoin landed in the 60s. And so that's what I did. And that was, I mean, it's literally that simple. That's literally all I did. And so will we go further down? Maybe, but I haven't bought all the way back in, so I still have some more scratch to throw on the fire. But you know that was my target way back when we started falling off of 126. We got back below 100. Remember, I said 63 was my target for the bottom, and so we could certainly go below that.
If you could actually share that um, screen with the viewers, I want to go over something really quickly.
Oh, okay.
So now take this with a grain of salt, but this person has been pretty accurate. He started calling for the bear market in mid-October, and he and a couple people, and he was right. He was right. We were kind of in denial, let's be honest, for towards the middle to end of October. We thought maybe one more spurt, but no, that October 10th, whatever happened with Binance, we still didn't know the whole story. That was the top for the cycle. Unless the cycle completely breaks this year, which we don't think it's going to happen. So here, mathematically, if you look at the models, the level where Bitcoin most likely will break down to is around 52K. And so that right now we're between 66 and 67. That means there's still more downside. Now, I anticipate some recovery in February before March, April, May, June, July, when those during the bear market, those are not good months, especially the first year of the bear market. Those are horrible months. So I actually anticipate we will go higher and then come back at some point this year into the 50 range. And that's when I believe that accumulation is the best move. But I get what you're doing because there's no guarantee that the past will repeat. And so it's possible 62, 63 is the low. But because of what's happening all over the world, I think we're just scratching the surface. I think a lot of things are happening. We've been talking about Epstein for a while, and people thought, oh, it's not that big of a deal. You don't know how big the story is. You do not know. And maybe only 2 to 20% will actually get revealed. But this is probably the biggest story of our lifetimes. Uh, because it completely undermines the entire independence of the United States, and I'll stand by that statement. And so, as it slowly unravels, you will see fear. Now, right now, it's being hidden from the public, but the people that are digging kind of know what's going on, have an idea. But I mean, that Pam Bondi appearance was a complete disgrace, just a complete, utter failure of a human being. If anyone did their job like she did, they would be fired immediately. And the fact that she
I
has such
mean,
a position is just a joke.
imagine this scenario. You're walking down the street and somebody comes running up to you and says, "Hey, help, someone's molesting this child." And your answer is, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. The Dow Jones is over 50,000 today."
And it's not
What
anymore.
kind of person are you?
Well, the thing about the Dow being that high is because so much money has been printed. So it is very misleading. Like we talked about, we do believe at some point Bitcoin will hit $1 million. The problem is when that happens, a nice car might be $300,000. Well, you laugh, but people are paying over 100K for cars right now. So it's
Oh,
not
I know.
It's triple that in the next 8 to 12 years is not far-fetched at all. So, I mean, by the time yes, and I still believe in Bitcoin absolutely, otherwise we wouldn't be doing the show, but by the time Bitcoin does hit a million's not gonna be what it was 20 years ago, 10
No,
years ago, 5 years ago, and not what it is today. You know,
no,
it's
that's a
not gonna
good
be
point.
nothing. It's not gonna be nothing, but it's not gonna be it used to be when we were kids, you had $1,000,000 in your account, you were done for life. It's not gonna be that way. It's just not.
Well, I'm
Uh,
not sure it's that way now. People are living longer and more
n
expensive lives, and inflation is going
no,
crazy right now.
you'd have to live a very modest life,
Yes,
sadly,
you would.
like, so
But I want to
that's
push back on the idea that we have bad months ahead. Because we still believe in Bitcoin, I feel like these months are good months where we're
are you
dropping
talking about
into this.
February, March, or are you talking about the spring into summer?
I'm
'Cause I
talking
think there's a
about
little
when we
different.
dip down into the 50s. If we dip down into the 50s, unless you've been invested, unless you bought in at 126, we're really not talking about a bad month, right? We're talking about an opportunity. And so I think that right now we're in great months. This is where you want to be moving. You want to be throwing, like I said, some scratch on the fire so that you can be in the game when we get up to 200,000.
So when it comes to Bitcoin, I agree with you. DCAing, best plan because it's hard to catch the bottom. Is it 62? Is it 52? Is it 45? Is it 42? Dare
Oh,
I
it's
say?
impossible to catch the
Do
bottom
we
of
do we
cash.
go to 39? I don't think so, but it's not mathematically impossible. I'm showing you here the Solana chart, and a lot of our not a lot of our viewers, but some of our viewers caught it at 20 during the last bear and rode it all the way up well above 200 for over a 10x. So here at around 80, it just actually dipped below 80 during the show. To me, it's too soon. It's too soon for the alts. Unless you want to slowly DCA little by little, I would not start investing heavily on alts right now. I think it's too soon. I think it's too early. I would love to see Sol, and I'm not saying it's a long shot, but this is going to take some time and some work, get all the way down into the 20s again before I really get excited about coming back in. But right
Wow.
now, we're at 45 billion in market cap, and with the current situation in the US and around the world for something like Solana, it's too high. It's too high for me. And you might say, "Wait a minute, this thing was trying to go to 300 and you get it at
Yeah.
60 great." It is a good buy because here's why. I do believe Sol in the year 2028 and 2029 will break 200 again. So you will 2x. However, if you are more patient and you wait, and maybe we don't hit the 20s, but I gotta believe a 40 Sol is coming at some point this summer. That's when I think you get aggressive and start coming in.
Wow. So you are really solidly believing in a nastier crypto winter than where we already
Oh,
are.
we've just started, and think about
Because you're
it.
talking about for blue chips, you're talking about a 50 to 75% fall off from here, where we're already what
Well, look what happened.
70% from the
Look
high
what
that,
happened in
that
the
we saw.
last bear. Look what happened in the last bear. We're up here all the way down here, right? So if we look, right, if history repeats itself, look at this, right? 247. Where do we end up? 21, 16, excuse me. Not 20, 16. So, you're telling me 30 is not possible? This isn't Bitcoin. This isn't ETH. This is just Solana. And right now, there's so much negativity when it comes to alts because a lot of people never came back this cycle at all.
That's true.
A lot of retail just sat on the sidelines. Maybe they bought Bitcoin, maybe they bought ETH. They were buying other stuff like Nvidia. They were gambling. They were doing futures markets, all kinds. You know what I mean? And so, uh, um, I don't think people are in a rush to buy this stuff, right?
No.
That's and like Iowa's network,
Well,
which
like you
I was
said, there's a lot of ugliness in the world and on the macro market or on the macro scale. So when you're looking at everything that's happening, Epstein files, all the garbage that's happening really around the world, um, and you think to yourself, what's the first thing that gets sold? It's technology and risky investments like crypto.
Yeah. So I think it's early. I don't think we've seen, I hate to say it, I do not think we've seen the worst of 2026 yet. Um, there a lot, I wanna see what happens in these midterm elections. I wanna see if we have midterm elections, and I'm not being, hyperbolic. I think this country is in for a lotta, roller coaster rides over the next 6 to 12 months. I don't think there's any way around it, and I wanna see how things recover from that. Could the new Fed chair bring any life to the crypto market? Yes, temporarily. But I don't think it's gonna lead to a early bull run by any means.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to lead to a bull run, but if you're a day trader, you certainly could make some money
And
off of the new Fed
and
chair
I actually here's
coming
where it
in.
gets a bit confusing. I believe some of these alts are going to rebound in the month of February into March. I think we're gonna have a very short green period where people are gonna get excited, but it's gonna be a trap. That is my opinion, and people are gonna think, "Oh my god, maybe the bear is already over." Kinda like what happened 4 years ago. If you remember, we had that huge run. Um, we were and people were thinking, "Ma Are we going back to 60K?" And what happened? The bottom fell out. So I don't think it's negative. I don't think Bitcoin never goes straight up and never goes straight down. So I do think there'll be some recovery before the spring, but I anticipate once you get to March and April, things will bottom out again. So, for the short term, if you wanted to buy and you do your own research, obviously, buy now. I think you could make a little bit, but we're not talking about huge gains, right? The soul's
Hmm.
not going to 200 from here. Could it get back over 100? Yeah, you get a little 20% push in a brief moment of time, maybe a little bit over. But I do think there'll be some brief recovery, something like this, new Fed chair, all that stuff. Um, but unfortunately, I don't think it can be sustained. And I think the spring, the economic numbers, they're not even releasing a lot of them. Like it's, I think, and also the other thing that people are really concerned about is how many jobs will be lost to AI over the next 5 years. Um, it's we're still very early in that. Um, and then where do those people go for jobs, right? Um, are are their jobs just out there waiting for them? That's another big thing.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to happen in the next 5 years. I don't think there will be a mass um, takeover with AI and jobs. I think you're going to see a lot of people absorbing AI into their jobs and becoming more efficient. And then after that, you'll see
I
AI
I I
start to
think
take
it'll
over some
I think
jobs.
it'll come quicker than you think. I don't think it's we're not talking about days or months, but I think, you know, I think companies are gonna get very, very, conservative about hiring, and that's gonna be a big issue. And cost of goods are not going down, right? And I think they're gonna be very conservative about giving up bigger salaries unless they absolutely have to. Unless someone is vital to their operation, they're gonna cut or they're going to freeze salaries. A lot there are some people right now that already think we've headed into a recession. We don't have enough evidence to say that for sure, but you can't say that right now people are thriving.
No, people
So
certainly aren't thriving right now. And if you measure success in or if you measure financial success by the stock market, then yeah, it's going all right. But
well,
if
those
you
numbers
measure
are
success
inflated.
by how people are doing in the supermarket, then it's not going too well right now.
Those numbers are inflated because there's more money that's been printed. So there's more money available to put in there. Just saying. You gotta think about it. Um, So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Now, to end on a bright note, here's the thing. If you catch Bitcoin in the 40s, how are you going to feel 3 years from now when it's at 200K?
If you catch it
That's
in the
the
60s, you're gonna
truth.
feel great about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you
At
agree with
200K,
me? You agree with me that 200K plus is very doable in the next bull run at post halving.
I agree that it's in range.
Wow. So that would be if we don't get to 200K next bull run, that would be the first time it didn't at least double the previous cycle.
Right, you're gonna have diminished returns over time. And so I don't know that you're going to see
Well,
these.
but if you get diminished returns and you still get an 80% reduction every time, that's not good. So, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, eventually that's going to water down too.
Okay, so you don't think you don't see this huge run then? Um,
I could see a 180 Bitcoin for sure.
okay, well, I mean, we were hoping for 140 to 170 to 180 last time, and we missed it. It wasn't
Well,
that
we
off.
only made it to 126 this time.
Yes.
So,
Yes, but how much of that was because of CZ and Trump? I mean, that would be an amazing I mean, some people have delved into it, but to really dive, I think those 2, I'm not trying to get political, but I do believe those 2 kinda destroyed the momentum of the bull run. Trump at the beginning with the Trump and Melania coin that just really, and plus they never established regulation like they said they were. They used the
mhm.
system to enrich themselves, and then you had, whatever CZ did in October. I mean, I still find it hard to believe that October 10th, there's still not a concrete explanation as to how all those liquidations happened naturally. Come on. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, and the market never recovered, right?
Right. October was the end.
October 10th, but was it supposed to be that way? Were we supposed to have a little more action, maybe for another few weeks leading into November? We'll never know. Um, but I don't think it was written in stone that 126 was going to be the top. I really don't. And so I'm a bit more positive because I think there will be regulation for the next cycle, and I think there'll be more. Right now, also there's some FUD around Bitcoin being created by the feds that's going around in some circles. So people are scared a little bit, but as that fear dies off, I think you'll see Bitcoin give back tremendous value over time. I really do.
Absolutely. I think even if the 60s is the bottom and we get to 180 or so, you're talking about a 3x in your
Yeah,
money.
and I think so. I'm listen, I hate to say it, but this July, this August, I wanna see a 30 sol. I wanna see it.
Right.
I wanna remember Iowa's network a year ago topped at $1 about 12 months ago? It's at 6 cents, okay? It was at $1. It's at 6 cents. Would you buy Iowa's network at a cent? Throw a little bit there? Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
You would, because it could get back to $1 because the market cap's not that big.
And you're
I'm not.
talking about AIOZ, right?
Yeah, Iowa's network. I mean, you do your own research, do the do the math. You put in $1,000 at a cent in 6 to 8 months, you wait a couple of years, it doesn't have to go back to $1. It goes back to 50 cents, you're dancing in your room. So, the opportunities are there, but you gotta be careful because I think some alts, like you said, are not coming back, right? You can't just blindly pick them, right? I think if they're not in the top 40, be very, very scared to buy. That would be my, and we're gonna do a show. We'll do a draft, an altcoin, bear market draft coming up. NFL draft's only a couple months away. And I think eventually brighter days are ahead. I just don't think they're
Absolutely.
I just don't think they're in 2026, except for, again, my theory is February into March will actually be good for crypto briefly before more negativity comes back the rest of the year. That's because you're not gonna be red forever. There will be some green moments. And here's the thing: the manipulators and the big whales will want to make a little bit of money. And they
Yep.
can't do that if retail is completely at home. You got to get someone a bit excited, right? So we'll see. There might be a catalyst to get some green, but I like your idea of DCAing. I would say for the alts, I would say it's too soon, but do your own.
Right. And my strategy is a longer term strategy, right? Like I'm buying in the low end and holding for a couple of years. until we get to the top or near the top. I'm
Mhm.
not going to claim that I can catch the top or the bottom. Um, but if you're a day trader, there's certainly opportunities to make money, especially in Bitcoin, because like you said, Bitcoin's not going to go straight up or straight down. There's opportunities daily and weekly to make a little bit of money here and there. Um, like you said, there could be green months coming up, and that could be an opportunity to make a little bit of money and then get out before it goes back down. But certainly, if you're on a more short term timeline, then trade away.
Yeah. Listen, keep it here. We'll have a bear market draft coming up. You do not want to leave this channel because if you watch this channel and you follow us, I think 2 years from now you're going to be sitting very, very pretty. For Mr. FOMO's AZ Crypto, you guys have a wonderful Valentine.